Hey everyone, Oris here with a first time commentary video. I decided to make a commentary video, seeing as some other creators have just started some commentary videos and commentary series, so definitely hopping on that bandwagon there to sort of like outreach to the community and see what you guys are interested in, sort of some channel iteration, but also in part simply because I've been sort of nostalgic or perhaps reminiscing of, those old Kill 2 and Coverx commentary videos. Perhaps not quite so much the commentary, but certainly the footage they were getting and the fights they were getting. Really great fights from some really talented pilots, and watching those videos is really satisfying. But I have also a lot of footage, and I like to share with you guys and maybe provide some commentary. This is a really short clip that I like to share with you guys in one of my kind of new favorite ships. It's a really fun ship. And that being said, let's get right into the fight. So I am roaming Losec in my Artie Wolf, and the Artie Wolf is a ship that is fun for me in a few different ways. One, simply because it's a ship that might be underestimated by a lot of players. It's one that's very, very unpredictable, and some other things about the ship are predictable and unpredictable. The damage is kind of unpredictable since you fight and fall off a lot of the time. It doesn't have a whole lot of tank, but it's really this sort of glass cannon that can catch a lot of people by surprise. You can put out a surprising amount of damage, and you're working with fall-off mechanics, so you might occasionally get some really crazy hits on people. Maybe kind of get some panic tackle in there and make people panic in those. And frig fights, the volley's incredibly useful and can be incredibly punishing. And you can really put some hurt on people, and that's what makes the ship so fun. It's kind of like a on the edge ship. The damage isn't quite as predictable as a Retribution, and also players don't really revere it as they do at Retribution. The Retribution's really strong, so flying a Wolf with Arties and a long point, similar to how people fit a Retribution with just like beams and a long point. You can catch people by surprise, and people often underestimate you, which works to your advantage. You can get them kind of being over aggressive. So let's get right into the fight. I'll go ahead and start it by setting the scene. This fight starts right as I warp to a belt from a Plex. I see all of these three players there. I warp to the belt, knowing that the two frigates can isolate pretty heavily, but the real kind of crown jewel here is the Retribution. I know I can sort of directly counter it. I have incredibly high base EM resists, and I have selectable damage, and I will absolutely eat this Retribution for breakfast if I play it well. And it's also kind of a challenge because there's two other ships here. There's the Punisher, which, I mean, it's obviously like a brick tank afterburner. It's like Scram Punisher, so it's really not a threat. But the Osprey Navy issue kind of adds an element of difficulty in there because it has pretty good range, and it also shoots what's most likely rapid lights directly into one of my lowest resists. Since it's bonus for kinetic and I have absolutely no kinetic resists. I do have an adaptive nanoplating, but that really doesn't do much. So the first order of business in this fight is separating the Retribution, the one ship that I want to kill that I know I can kill in a 1v1, and isolating him from the rest of the fight and the rest of his friends. So I start out by just burning a straight line away from the belt. I make a turn here. You can see my vector change. These two little double clicks are just to lower my radial, and to sort of let the Retribution gain some range on me before I start my my opening volleys and I start putting my damage on this guy. And I open up with a pretty big volley for like 480, 470, and then I graze for 36, which is really low. Double digits aren't something you get often in the Wolf. So in like watching this video now, this guy definitely ADC'd, and touching on what I visited earlier, about like the sort of panic, like the big volleys, like ripping all this guy's shields in one hit. This guy might be inclined to hit his ADC, right? He might be thinking, I'm taking a lot of damage, I need to ADC at this point. A little bit of overheating here on my point. That's a little mistake I make in the fight, but really straightforward kiting, and my camera's positioned so that I can see this guy's vector pretty well, and I can see it here in the center of my ship, so I can see when he's no longer like approaching me. I can see when he's deviating, and I see that now, so I start turning my camera very quickly and double clicking behind him where he's going. You see a double click there by the planet, and then you'll see another double click that registers, yeah, right up there. And so now I've got the Retribution on the defensive, and I've got to be on the offensive. I've got absolutely no damage on my micro warp drive, so it's time to heat. And I put some volleys into the sky in pretty deep fall off, and you can see that you still get 300 hits and graze like right outside of your max fall off. He's starting to fly towards the Osprey and the Punisher, and like I mentioned before, I want to be absolutely nowhere near this Osprey's range, because one or two volleys from him are going to be really very not frustrating, but very scary, and like a fourth or a fifth might be even lethal, since he fires directly into one of my lowest resists. You can see fall off here just doing some not quite magic, but it's really convenient when you just get to let your guns sort of run. And here, like, I mean, just look at this, like 30 kilometers, 475 for a grazing hit. Quick piloting thing, I just like double click away and deviate so I don't get scrammed embarrassingly by an Afterburner Punisher, but I also stay away from this Osprey as much as possible. He lands a volley or two here, but I'm just about to finish the Retribution, who is most likely aligned to this Celestial here. He's probably lined out getting ready to warp, but I'm landing some damage on him. You see, like, some okay volleys. The 200 one isn't fantastic, but the selectable damage really working here. Again, look at this, glances off for 490. He lines towards the Celestial. I'm making sure I watch his vector. He's turning away. I turn my camera, and I see that there's a perfect Celestial that he's probably aligning to, and that I'm also ready to warp to when I warp out. Some good volleys, some damage here, just pretty straightforward. I finish off the Retribution. It's time to warp off. So kills aren't everything. It just goes to show you that there's this lots, like there could be many more ships on a kill mail than you see on Z-Kill, and so kills are really just like half of flying, and it's half of sort of the half the story here. You'll notice that the Osprey is just like right inside heated point range, and he totally could have pointed me. Having activated warp, he would have caused me to decelerate. Would have had to accelerate again. And since I'm pretty agile on a wolf, I'd slow down really quickly, and I'd probably be dead at this point. My ancils on reload, I have 0 cap. I totally would have been dead. So maybe not quite so much a mistake on their part, just maybe forgetting, complacency, or maybe the fight happens too fast. But that's the end of the clip. Really short clip, only 1 kill. I'll probably upload another one of these wolf fights here in the future, perhaps even a little bit if I get some good feedback on it. But I want to thank you guys for watching and encourage you guys to leave some comments down below if you liked the video. And yeah, thanks. Until next time.